Good morning, everyone. My name is Richard Simmons. Breaking news this morning, President Nixon has landed in China. But before I go any further, I'd like to introduce our news team. Fitzwilliam Jackson, Kevin James, and George Orwell here with me in the newsroom, and with Jeffrey Joffrey in the field. Now, I would like to turn this report over to Kevin James.
Good evening. I have requested this television time tonight to announce a major development in our efforts to build a lasting peace in the world. As I have pointed out on a number of occasions over the past 3 years, there can be no stable and enduring peace without the participation of the People's Republic of China and its 750 million people. That is why I have undertaken initiatives in several areas to open the door for more normal relations between our two countries. In pursuance of that goal, I sent Dr. Kissinger, my assistant for national security affairs, to Peking during his recent world tour for the purpose of having talks with Premier Zhou Enlai. The announcement I shall now read is being issued simultaneously in Peking and in the United States. Premier Zhou Enlai and Dr. Henry Kissinger, President Nixon's assistant for national security affairs, held talks in Peking from July 9 to 11, 1971. Knowing of President Nixon's expressed desire to visit the People's Republic of China, Premier Zhou Enlai, on behalf of the government of the People's Republic of China, has extended an invitation to President Nixon to visit China at an appropriate date before May 1972. President Nixon has accepted the invitation with pleasure. The meeting between the leaders of China and the United States is to seek the normalization of relations between the two countries and also to exchange views on questions of concern to the two sides.
Kevin James here, reporting live from the newsroom. It's a historic moment for us, the first time the United States president visits China, ending the 25-year-long silence between the countries. It was a week-long visit, which a major point in the Cold War. In Nixon's words, the week that changed the world. During the trip, Nixon and Mao engaged in substantive talks, while First Lady Pat Nixon visited schools, factories, and hospitals. Was important as it further weakened the relationship between the USSR and the PRC.
In other news, our esteemed ping pong stars have been visiting China for a year now. The friendship between the long-haired hippie Glenn Cohen and the welcoming Zhang Zedong is remarkable. Came up by chance at the 31st World Table Tennis Championship, which was in Nagoya, Japan. Cohen was doing extra training, which caused him to miss his bus. He then boarded the shuttle carrying the Chinese team. Many of the Chinese team's members were suspicious of Cohen. However, Zhang Zedong approached him and shook his hand. They exchanged gifts, Cohen receiving a silk portrait of the Huangshan Mountains and Zedong receiving a t-shirt with a red, white, and blue peace emblem flag and the words "Let It Be," lyrics from the song by the Beatles. This chance meeting has led to what many people consider ping-pong diplomacy, as Mao Zedong saw the diplomatic skill of Zhang Zedong and decided to invite the U.S. national team to visit. This event likely paved the way for Nixon's historic visit. More recently, however, the U.S. Army table tennis team visited China. One player stood out against all others. His name was Forrest Gump. Here's a clip of his astounding performance. These athletes are the true heroes for opening up diplomatic relationships with the PRC. Now on to Jeffrey.
Thanks, Fitzwilliam. This is Jeffrey Joffrey reporting from the city of Hue in South Vietnam. The Easter offensive continued today as the North Vietnamese Army and the Viet Cong thrust south into ARVN forces that continue to fall back. This is some footage we have of a skirmish near Hue.
Dắt lên, bao hai dắt lên xuống này chơi hả?
Yesterday, the NVA gained control of Firebase Bastogne, and following an evacuation due to its now untenable position, Firebase checkmate. This now leaves Route 547 open for an assault on Hue itself. Meanwhile, in the air, Operation Linebacker, President Nixon's air campaign against the Easter offensive, continued to both support ARVN troops in combat and strike targets in North Vietnam itself. Meanwhile, the Paris peace talks continue to toil in deadlock. From the old imperial city of Hue, Jeffrey Joffrey.
Nixon's trip to China, therefore, was a move calculated to drive an even deeper wedge between the two significant communist powers. The United States could use a closer diplomatic relations with China as leverage in dealing with the Soviets, particularly on the issue of Vietnam. In addition, the United States might be able to use of the Chinese as a counterweight to North Vietnam. Despite their claims of socialist solidarity, the PRC and the North Vietnam were at best strongly suspicious allies. For its part, the PRC was desirous of another ally in the increasingly tense relationship with the Soviet Union and certainly welcomed the possibility of increased US to China trade. I'm George Orwell, signing off.